All right, guys, welcome back to the Crush. No, welcome back. You've never been here. It's only done this so much. Let's mark it. All right, guys, welcome to the Crush It podcast, a discussion about how to crush your obstacles instead of letting them crush you. I got Matt Davis here with me. I'm Mason Burchette. We are the hosts of the Crush It podcast. And Matt, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing, what this podcast is all about. Hit it.
All right, guys, so we're super excited about bringing this podcast to you. We're going to talk to you about failures. We're going to talk about success, the ups and downs in this journey that we're on, trying to make it in life, reach our goals, reach our dreams, and make them a reality. So super excited about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, be bringing some people in, talking to them, and talk about how we're just crushing it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so Matt and I are both young entrepreneurs. We're out in the business world, working just like you guys are. And we just want to kind of share some of the stuff that we're working through, some of the stuff we see, some of the stuff we face. And we want to bring, like Matt said, some guests on that have different perspectives, get a lot of different perspectives from people all throughout the business world, all throughout different industries, and kind of see how their successes and their failures can help you learn.
Right, because here's the thing. Many times in this industry, whether you're in different industries, whether you're in sales, whether you're in retail, whatever the case is, so many times we get our mindsets in that there's a certain box that we got to fit in. And a lot of times there's just one single perspective. We find one person we follow. When the reality is, guys, there's no guideline. There's no certain way that things have to be done. There's a lot of guys, me and Mason, we follow different guys out there who have different perspectives on a lot of things, and that's on a lot of different things, and that's really good. It's good for us to see the perspective of one guy against the perspective of another, because what might work for me might not work for Mason, and vice versa. And so we're really excited about, over the next little while, being able to bring people in and try to help you guys, because one of the greatest things in my life has been the mentors that I've been able to look to, who have gone through the struggles, who've had the failures, because nobody's had success without failures. And so I think that the perspective that we're going to be able to bring from a personal basis, and then those that we're bringing in, I think it's going to add a lot of value to what you guys are going through.
Yeah, and so Matt, today we're going to talk a little bit about mindsets. Me and you were talking over lunch about some pretty cool stuff involving mindsets in business, but really in life, right?
Right.
And success in life, in your mood, and how big a deal that your mood and your mindset plays into the family side of it, the business side of it, all of that. But before we jump into that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, give a little bit about your background, what you've been doing.
Okay, so, like you said at the beginning, name's Matt Davis. Me and Mason actually pretty much grew up together. I am 29, about to be, I guess, what they call over the hill, married with 2 kids. Got one on the way, showing up in September, so excited about that. Another little girl on the way. But kind of where I started at a very young age. At the age of 15, my parents allowed me to actually homeschool so that I could go to work for my brother-in-law doing roofing, and would get up early every morning, do my schoolwork, and then work full-time for my brother-in-law, because I enjoyed money, and as a 15, 16, 17-year-old was able to go out, make money. At 19, was able to, right before I got married, was able to start my own roofing business, and had some success there, have enjoyed that. And then back in 2014, got in a car wreck, which at that point took me out of roofing, and I knew that I enjoyed talking to people, and so somebody suggested sales, kind of got into that. I've done several different things as far as sales go, and now just trying to just doing what I can, where I can. Got a couple things going on. Won't make any plugs for the business
Don't
side.
plug your personal business.
As of today. But excited about the plans, excited about the future. I love the sales industry. I think there is so much potential. There's so much success to be had. And so been in and out of different types of sales. Have learned a lot of lessons. Unfortunately, a lot of them the hard way, but hopefully through that, I can help some others not make those same mistakes that I made.
Experience is a great teacher.
Yes, that is for sure.
Yeah, so I'm Mason Burchette. I'm 24, and like Matt said, unfortunately, we kind of grew up together, which is a good thing. But yeah, I'm in the for now. We'll talk more about that later in a different podcast. But yeah, I'm in the building materials industry. I've been in the building materials industry, formed steel industry for 6 years now. I'm the business development manager for Best Buy Metals, and I also have some side hustles because the dreaded E word. We are entrepreneurs. I almost hate that word because everybody's an entrepreneur these days. But always got a side hustle. Always got to be hustling.
Multiple streams of income.
Multiple streams of income. Got to get that. So yeah, just out there hustling on the side, but working full time as well. And I'm married with 2 kids and. Pretty much
one on the way.
Not one on the way,
that we
thankfully. That we know of yet. Knock on wood.
So Mason's kind of selling himself short a little bit, and we'll talk about this probably in a later podcast. We'll get a little bit more in detail with this. But like I said, I've known Mason pretty much my whole life. Mason actually started off with the company that he is now the business development manager.
Correct.
Is that
yep.
correct?
Yep.
So he's worked his way up, but he actually started just in the warehouse.
Yeah, I started
right?
stocking trim in our Asheville warehouse
at the bottom
of the totem pole.
And over a course of how long you been there?
6 years.
6 years.
Yep.
So over the course of 6 years, has had a lot of success. Earned the respect of the owner, who is a fantastic businessman, really leading the nation in that industry and doing a great job there. And he's earned that respect and worked his way up. So I won't get into that too much right now, but we'll talk about that on a later podcast. But kind of looking from two different spectrums. I've had very few jobs where I clocked in every morning and clocked out every night. Had different things going on where on the other side of that, Mason, you've shown what it's like to apply yourself and work your way up in a place. And, on social media, you can see where there's kind of two sides of the fence there.
Right.
There's those who say, hey, you need to have what they call a real job. It gets thrown around a lot where you clock in, you clock out, and then there's the other sides. Well, you'll never have success if you just have that type job. You need to walk away from that. Well, who's right and who's wrong? Really, neither.
Right.
Both are right, both are wrong.
Right.
It depends on you.
And Matt, you've kind of represented the hustle and grind side of the spectrum, where you're talking about you don't really clock in and out. I'm kind of on the more corporate side of it, where I've been very corporately structured.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be great.
Yeah, bringing two perspectives.
Bring these two perspectives together. That said, I really want to jump into the topic for today, which was mindsets.
Right.
So we're talking about mindsets. Why don't you let's talk about the same thing we were talking about earlier. Okay. And let's get into that discussion about those negative and positive mindsets and how they offset.
Yeah, because that's so big. It really is. Your mindset is who you are. That's your life. And anybody who really knows me, especially over the last few years, knows that I absolutely hate negativity. It is a cancer. It's terrible, even to the point sometimes where at times I do go overboard, especially with my kids. Sometimes they're frustrated because, anything negative comes out of their mouth, I'm all over them because I know what that negative mindset can do to somebody. I've watched it. I've watched people who they can literally not enjoy anything because they've got a negative mindset. They see the bad side to absolutely everything. And something that me and Mason were talking about earlier is something that I was actually just thinking about this past weekend. When you train yourself to have a negative mindset, that becomes who you are. And this is what I mean. Even when you hear something positive or hear something happy, when you have put negative filters in place in your mind about everything in life, everything you do, your job, your spouse, your kids, your parents, where you live, what you do, what you do on the weekends, who you hang out with, when you have put negative filters in your mind about all of those things, even when you get good news, that positive news or that positive statement has to go through all of these negative filters before you come to a conclusion about something, which means typically something that's good loses the power of positivity by the time it goes through your filters, and you have been able to find 3 or 4 different things negative about that situation before it even gets through your thought process. A good example of that is if there's somebody that you've never met, or maybe somebody has a negative opinion about somebody. You hear bad stories. You heard they did this person wrong. They did that person. They didn't do this right. You develop a negative mindset about that person, and maybe for good reason, okay? But if there's a person that I've told you nothing but negative stories about them, and then one day I just up and say, hey, this person just did this great thing, and tell you something good they did, that good thing I told you about that person is going to have to make its way through every negative mindset that you have had about that person. And so by the time it's over, you're really not going to be impressed with that good thing because it's gone through all of the negative preconceived ideas you already had about this person. And that is how we live our lives. What we feed into ourselves is what we're going to get. And we've all been around that person that's like, just my goodness, I hate being around them. They're negative about everything. Nothing's ever okay. And there's even like you can joke about that. What is it? They say they see a cloud for every silver lining. Just the who was it said? It was one of the famous guys said that don't hang around somebody, a negative person. They have a problem for every solution. And we've all been around that person, and I can literally, there are those people that exist in my life, and when I'm around them, it drags me down because they just have a negative mindset on everything they do. So it's important that if you're going to have a happy life, you got to turn that around, okay? You got to make it a positive mindset. When you see the positive, when you take those negative filters and you turn them into positive filters, where, hey, I'm going to look for the good in everything I do. Those things begin to happen more and more in your life. Those positive things, when you see them, look, there are things in life that are bad, okay? My dad is coming off a battle with cancer. That is a bad thing, okay? Nobody's going to sit around and say, hey, that's a great thing. But we can look at some positive things that have come as a result of that in his life, our family coming together and different things like that. And so when we set those positive filters, it really changes our mindset and our outlook on life. It's not really about good or bad things happening in our life. We've all heard the statements. People talk all the time about it's not about what happened to you, it's about how you handled and your attitude towards what happened to you. Listen, if we're honest, and Mason, me and you could sit here and we could share stories, life stinks sometimes. Like
I would say, I would agree with that.
You would agree with that? Okay, thank you. Life stinks. Stuff, bad things happen. They happen to everybody, okay? But the difference in a successful person and an unsuccessful person is what they do when those bad things happen, the attitude that they have when they happen, their outlook on that thing. Okay, I can either sit back and let life happen to me, or I can take charge, and when life happens, I can take that, turn it around, and do something good with it. Use it to grow.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. and I'm gonna stop you right there because I want to back up just a little bit. You were
Okay.
talking about how toxic it is to be around people with a consistently negative mindset. Now,
Right.
your energy levels, I think we could both agree, are probably a little higher than mine, right?
I would agree wholeheartedly on that.
Slightly higher. I would go so far to say that your energy levels are higher than most people's. But that's a good thing.
I'm going to take it as a compliment.
That's a compliment.
We're going to
It's
roll with a
definitely
compliment.
Well, yeah, sure, it's a compliment.
Okay, let's go.
Anyways, that said, I think most people don't view themselves as that negative person, but we both know they exist.
Yes.
So, what is, I guess, number one, what do you think are some of the pitfalls that people can be wary of that they don't become that person? And then on the backside of that, how can they recognize that they are becoming that person and kind of flip that around?
Yeah, it's funny that you'd bring that up because honestly, the large majority of negative people, if you were to look at them and tell them they were negative, they would get so offended.
Right.
Because they have no idea. They're so blinded by it. One thing I heard say, people talk about being an optimist and a pessimist. And I heard a guy say one time, he said that a pessimist is just an optimist with more information. And so, and that's the mindset a lot of people have. Sure. People will mask their negativity with, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist. All right, and listen, there is a level of that, and we got to be careful because, I'm in no way suggesting, and it's not good for us to live in a fake fairyland,
Willfully ignorant.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, just being willfully ignorant. You got to be smart, okay, and you got to recognize when bad things happen. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that they allow bad things to become who they are. All right? I think the difference is when people... It's about a decision, is really what it is. Every day we're faced with thousands and thousands of thousands of decisions. Every morning when the alarm clock goes off, we make a decision. Do we hit snooze or do we get up? When we walk into our closet, do I put on the red shirt or the blue shirt? We make decisions all day. When it comes to our outlook on life, we're so guilty of just letting it happen to us. We let our surroundings dictate our mindset. When the fact is, the mind, as powerful as it may be, is very much manipulated by what's going on around us. So I think that for most of the population, maybe not all, because I've met some people who are just oddly positive, but I think overall negativity comes easy for us. It's the natural thing for us, and that's why there's so many negative people. Because when we allow our mindset to just kind of be on cruise control, then we're allowing those negative mindsets to cultivate and to grow and to build on each other. So what I would say is, to answer your question, for somebody who is saying, hey, I'm negative, I know I have a negative mindset, what do I do? Or for the person who's like, hey, you know what, am I negative? It's important to take a step back and take a look at who you are. All right, listen, and actually, I've seen it multiple times, but Mason, the first time I saw it, I guess it was probably a month or two ago, you shared something, I guess it was on Instagram, and it was like the caterpillar and the butterfly sitting across the table from each other. It's like, man, you've changed, and he's like, we're supposed to.
Right.
Listen, that's not exactly what we're talking about, but the concept is still the same. Listen, if we are going to be successful in life, and if we're going to be everything that we're supposed to be, look, if I, at 29 years old, was still drinking from a bottle, you probably wouldn't be
that
friends
would be
with
odd,
me.
yeah.
That would be
we
odd.
Probably wouldn't be doing this
we
right
can
now.
agree on that, okay? You know what? Because people expect you to grow out of that.
Right.
Right?
For sure.
As you get older, you change. But it seems like, and I think this is one of the things that's paralyzing us as a nation, is that once we become, quote unquote, adults, we're 21, we've got our family, we've got our career, we've got our car, our house. We just we stop growing. We just step back and we go into cruise control. We do our thing every day. And that's not what God made us to be. We are to be growing ourselves as individuals. And so it's our responsibility. It's my responsibility to take a step back and look at who I am and ask myself, am I a negative person?
I'm going to throw my 2 cents on that one. Because you said something a minute ago that triggered this thought about success. That's a buzzword that we use a lot.
Oh, no doubt.
We've said it probably 40 times already in this podcast.
Yes.
And I think a lot of what triggers these consistently habitual negative mindsets in people is a misunderstanding or a lack of definition of that word success and what success actually means.
I agree with that.
I'm very Gary Vaynerchuk in my mentality of success. I think success is different things to different people, and I think it's worth, like you said, taking a step back, evaluating your mindset and what is success to you. Because Matt, success to me looks a little different than success to you looks like.
Oh, for sure. We've had those conversations.
Right.
Yeah. Success
to Donald Trump was becoming the president of the United States. That's not success to me, right? My success looks a little different than that.
So much he chose to lose money to do it.
Exactly.
Not my game. Try not to lose money.
Exactly. But, I mean, hey, if Gary Vee said this the other day, and I loved it, if success to you is making $55,000 a year and living in a double wide, but going to every single one of your daughter's ballerina sessions, that's great.
100%.
If that makes you happy, then that is success to you.
Yes.
That is
yes.
success. That's not what success looks like to me. But I know what success does look like to me.
You don't want to be at your little girl's.
Well, that's not exactly what I said.
Okay, I just wanted to clear it.
I didn't say the ballerina thing. I stole that. So
okay.
That's not my line. But I think it's a definition of success.
Oh,
you have to success
for sure.
is thrown around so much that people automatically think nice car, nice house, pool, blah blah blah,
millions of dollars,
and then it seems almost like it's an unattainable dream.
Right.
When really success is a personal decision. It's a personal thing that you have to define for yourself.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's really a good point to bring up on our first episode, so we can kind of lay the groundwork there about how we feel about it. But if you just look up, and as simple as this is, you look at the simple definition of success, it is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. That's it.
Was that Webster's 1828?
That's Google.
That's perfect.
Whatever Google brings up.
But for expound. That's a pretty simple definition. But expound on that.
It's so simple. But look, like he said, we get the mindset that we're not successful unless we are ...
X.
Unless we fit into this box, into this category, unless we can afford this, unless we go here on vacation, I'm not being successful. Listen, you decide what you want out of life. And here's the thing, whether that's a huge goal or whether it's a small goal, don't let anybody ever talk you out of that. Don't let the person that's got the big goal, because look, the guy with the big goal is typically going to be much more vocal about his goal, right?
Right.
He's going to be the loudest in the room, all right? And so a lot of times it's easy if your happiness, and that's another Gary Vee thing, being happy. Look, success is when you can look at your life and say, I'm happy. This is where I want to be.
Sure.
And so it's important for you, and that's a mindset thing. Going back to the mindset, it's important for you to make a decision about, hey, this is what I want out of life. This is where I want to be. This is what I want my day-to-day to look like. And then don't let anybody talk you out of that. Whether it's a simple life, which is okay. You know, there is nothing wrong if that's what happiness is to you. And then whether if you're married or getting married, you make sure that that person has that same goal and you enjoy life together.
Absolutely.
And that's success. Look, if I go to bed every night beside my wife, kiss her goodnight, and we go to bed and we are happy, there is no level of success.
Right. What's the level up at that point?
Exactly. There's nowhere. That is perfection. Okay? Now, for myself, I've got some pretty big goals. I read a thing one time, and Grant Cardone has really helped me with this as far as changing my mindset. That's really when my mindset started changing, when I read the 10X Rule. Little plug there. Fantastic book. But that's when my mindset started to change, to let me know that it's okay to have big dreams. It's okay to have crazy dreams. A lot of people, and it depends on who you are and kind of what works better for you. Some people feel like they need to set a goal that they know they can reach. Some people like to set crazy goals. I'm one of the guys that likes to set crazy goals that in all reality I know I'll never reach, but if I keep trying, then where I land is something I'm going to be happy with. He made a statement in one of his books, Cardone did. He made the statement that have dreams so big that you're embarrassed to tell normal people about them. Okay, I've got some of those dreams. All right, that I almost try to keep to myself because people are because they don't understand. That's okay. That's okay. But I've got some very good friends. I've got some people that I know very well who they have reached their definition of success, and they went to work every day.
Yep.
They put into their retirement. They worked till they got to the age that they decided to retire. They do a little traveling with their wife. They've got their kids out of the house. They've got their grandkids. And look, a person like that, more money wouldn't make them happy. Why?
Yep.
So why fight for it?
The thing about that is, when we paint that picture, we're not saying that there's nothing wrong with being poor. We're saying to define your levels of success, right? Because the truth is, the situation you just defined, the average millionaire in America is a millionaire because of his retirement account and the value of his home.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, so
that's why you're here, for those kind of stats.
Exactly. But that's true. That's true. Just because that you don't want to be Dave Ramsey, or you don't want to be Gary Vee, or you don't want to be Grant Cardone, doesn't mean
you don't want to be Mason Burchette.
Or you don't want to be Mason Burchette,
right?
Or Matt Davis. Just kidding. Just because you don't want to be high profile like these guys does not mean that you are a loser. I mean, the truth is,
or any less than anybody who is,
or any less than, and just means you have a different definition of success.
Yeah,
that's all. That's what that's all about.
Yeah, but with all that being said, it's important that you define that for yourself.
Exactly. It's all about defining the success.
Listen, I don't think it's okay for anybody to just float through life.
Agreed.
And not have a goal.
Right.
Not have a purpose. All right. Success is reaching your purpose. So you got to figure that out. All right. And listen, your purpose is not to occupy your parents' basement your whole life playing video games and never do anything.
I've got some people I grew up with that would beg to differ.
Right. And there's a large majority of them. But look, that's,
by the way, if that's how you define your success, that is not okay.
That is not okay. And that's the point. That's the point I want to get across is, everybody's level of success is different, but success is when you achieve that purpose. So, but you got to figure out what your purpose is.
Sure.
And achieve that. In order to reach that success, because I've seen a lot of people who live miserable lives because they're married to a spouse who has no purpose.
Right.
All right. They have parents who never had a purpose, and that affects the people around you. You have a duty. You have a responsibility. Figure out what your purpose is and get busy achieving it. I don't care what level that gets you to. Do something, all right? Get busy and do something. Whether it's going to work every day, putting into your retirement so you can enjoy your life comfortably one day, that's great. That's fine. Do it. But do something. Find your purpose.
Bringing this conversation, because we're going to have to wrap up here in a minute, bringing this conversation back around full circle.
Yeah.
We're talking about what me and you call defining success. Some people call it goal setting. But what we're talking about is defining success for you, making those goals in your life, because when you do that, I believe is what we're talking about, is the key to keeping yourself from getting in that negative mindset that we started this conversation about.
Right. Because in all reality, when you are busy and you're doing something, you're accomplishing something, it keeps your mind busy. And if you're controlling what's going in, then it's going to allow you to keep that negative mindset away. One of the most dangerous things for your mind, where negativity will creep in, is an idle mind, when it's not busy, when it's not doing something. And that's so easy to happen. It's so easy to let that happen. And so it's important. It's important that you define your success, define what it is, and then stay busy and feed that positive mindset. Put good things into your mind. All right? It's just like bodily exercise, man. Like if you want to have a healthy body, there's things you keep out and there's things you put in. All right? But that's not all you do, right? Somebody who is really in good shape, which is not me, but somebody who is in really good shape, they're not only watching what goes in, making sure the right things do go in, but what are they doing? They're exercising.
Right.
They're putting that body to work. Your mind's the same way. You got to keep the bad things out. You got to make sure you're putting the right things in. Put that positivity in. Listen, read books. Now, look, I'm not a big reader. I have a very hard time sitting down and reading. That's why audiobooks is the greatest invention to me. I love audiobooks. That's how I get everything, okay? It's through an audiobook. Listen to audiobooks. Listen to good podcasts. Keep good things going into your mind, but keep your mind busy. Keep it sharp. Keep it doing those things that are going to cultivate a positive mindset, which is going to cultivate a positive life. And here's what you're going to find. At the end of the day, when you have a positive mindset, it's going to affect the people around you, the people you're closest to. All right? It's going to affect how you talk to them, how you see them, how you react to them, how you care for them. A positive mindset will change your life. Be careful what you let get in there. Make sure you're working to put the right things in, and keep it busy to have a healthy, positive mindset.
Got to push it. Which brings us to the close of this conversation. When me and you started talking about Crush It and what we wanted to do with Crush It, and this podcast and a lot of the other things we're working on with this project, I'm the cautious. We work well together because I'm the cautious one in this partnerir't and you're the one.
So what you're wanting to say is I'm not cautious. That's what you're wanting to say.
I'm saying that I'm more cautious than you. But
I'm 100 miles an hour.
You are 100 miles an hour, and I'm one that's like got my foot on the brake,
right.
And I think that keeps us at a good speed. Yeah. But when we were talking about this, you said...
Or a massive burnout.
But you said you're really messing up my point right now.
I'm sorry. I'll back off. Go ahead.
As I was being the cautious man that I am, you said something to me as we kind of bounced off the yays and nays of jumping into this.
Right.
And you said, Mason, we got to do the doubt.
Yeah.
We got to do the doubt.
Yeah.
And that became our tagline.
It kind of became a big thing for us.
It became our motto. By the way, you can follow us on Instagram at Do The Doubt. But Do The Doubt. Talk, and that's summed up almost everything we just talked about. Hit that, and let's close this thing.
All right, real quick, and we're going to talk about this a lot. All right, because this is who we are. This is what we're pushing out there. But life is full of doubt. Okay, how many times have you thought about doing something, and your next thought was, "Well, I doubt it'll work. I'll doubt that'll happen." hey, maybe this will happen. Whether you're trying to buy a house, whether you're going to buy a car, whether you're trying to make a big sale. For those of you who are in sales, you say, well, I would call, but I doubt they'll answer. I doubt they'll accept my proposal. Look, the more you think about it, the less the chances are that you're going to act on it. That thing that you're doubting, the thing you want to do, look, that thing that's in your heart.
Defining success.
That success that you know in your heart you want to reach. You want to do it, and you're letting doubt scare you. Do the doubt.
Do it.
Whatever your doubt, just do it. Do it. Look, just stop. Stop thinking about it. Quit overthinking, Mason. Quit overthinking.
Working on that.
Everything. Look, every little detail. How many people have you heard say, well, I'd rather regret I did than regret I didn't? Look, just jump on it. Dude, that thing in your heart, that thing that you know. Look, if you're cold calling and you doubt they're going to pick up the phone, do the doubt. All right? They're not going to accept they're not going to buy this from me. Look, you don't know unless you ask. Do the doubt. Quit letting doubt run your life. And just go do it. Go do that thing. Because look, nobody out here is going to get success for you. I got a lot of good people around me. All right? One of them sitting across the table from me that we push each other. And there's multiple others that we push each other. But look, Mason can't be successful for me. I got other friends. They can't be successful for me. That's up to me. I have to do it. And you're in the same boat. Nobody's out here working for your dreams. You are. Quit living in doubt. Just do it. Do the doubt.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, that does it for the first Crush It podcast. So we've got a lot of other exciting stuff coming up. We've got a lot more episodes planned out.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be bringing people in, talking to you, getting perspectives
guests
on different industries.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Really looking forward to it.
Meanwhile, keep up. We got, like I said, a lot of exciting stuff going on. Keep up with us. Check us out on social media. We want to connect with you guys. We want to talk to you guys.
For sure.
So you can follow Matt on Instagram at
Matt Davis Crush It.
All right, and you can follow me on Instagram. My name is Mason Burchette. My Instagram username is MD Burchette. And we have the Crush It Instagram, which is at Do The Doubt. You can follow us at Do The Doubt on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Do The Doubt. You'll find the Crush It stuff there. So until next time, we are out of here.
Thanks for joining us, guys.